And welcome back. If you are watching this video, this is the second video of the Tech Tools Peardeck presentation. In our first video, we covered how to embed uh, the Peardeck questions into a Google Slides presentation. We covered the different types of questions that can be embedded. So we will see those in action during this presentation. We also covered some of the template slides that Peardeck has to offer. And we're going to take a look at some of those while we are presenting as well in this one. Uh, we are going to show you what it looks like from the teacher perspective as well as the student perspective in this video. So when you go to present your slides, again, do not click the regular present option. You need to present your lesson through Peardeck. This way, Google Slides and Peardeck know that they're working collaboratively and that the slides are to be given with the questions attached when the students join the presentation. So I'm going to click Present Lesson. And right now, the visual is what it would look like from the teacher's screen. So on the teacher desktop, you're going to be displaying this to your class. It has our join code with a interesting little sentence there to help us remember, and then the website that students need to join. So PKZHW. So I'm gonna do joinpd.com. This tab is going to represent the student perspective. It's going to ask them immediately to sign in with the Google account. So if you are linked up with a Chromebook and they have to sign into their account, it's perfect. You can just click their name. So I'm going to click mine, PKZHW. Once it recognizes the code, it will take them immediately into the presentation. And this is our student view now. Once you have students in the class, you can start your class, or you can just click X right away once you're ready to begin. So a couple things for the teacher view. We've got the presentation here. Down here it lets you know that you are presenting currently. You can move through the slides here at your own pace. Right now you are in control of the slides that the students see on their board. So you can click to navigate over here. If you want to add a new question, if you want to embed a new slide, like you're in the middle of a discussion and a great talking point comes up, you can insert a new question into your slide. Down here you also have some options as well. You can make your projection full screen. You can open your dashboard in a new window. We're going to talk about what student paced means near the end of this presentation. And then you can end the session here, or you can use the end button as well. So right now, let's go to our first slide. Our first slide was a multiple choice slide. How are you feeling, right? So when I navigate there, the student slide is going to navigate there as well. So they get to see the slide on the left side of the screen, and then they have their choices here on the right side. So for me, if I was to respond to this question right now, I'm feeling pretty happy. I'm enjoying giving this informational video for you all. So I'm gonna say happy. Then on the teacher view, now I can see how many people have responded. I had one person in the session, me, I responded. So now, as you see, we've got some new options to work with down here. So the show responses button, if I click that, it's going to show me from a multiple choice. It's going to show me how many people responded to each answer. And if I change my answer, it's going to change on the teacher presentation. Up here are different layouts as well. Right now, this is the overlaid layout, so you can see all the responses at once. If you wanted to look at individual responses, you would click the grid layout, and the responses are anonymous. This is another great thing about Peardeck. The responses are anonymous, so we're not focused on who said what, but we're more so focused on talking points and what is being said by the class as a whole. So I'm going to go back to my overlaid layout, and we'll go through the different types of layouts for the different question types as well. I can go back and hide the responses, display the question again. Lock screen. So if you are engaged in a classroom discussion, a classroom debate, and you don't want students, you want the responses to end or time has expired, you can lock their screens. Then on the student screen, your teacher has locked responses for this slide. If you are a teacher that likes to use a timer, this is perfect for you to cut responses. Make sure that students can't respond. When I unlock the screen, the answer choices come back for the student. So that's multiple choice slides. Let's continue. Free response. This is a good one. So I'm going to go back to the what are your thoughts? I'm really enjoying this PD. When I go back to the teacher mode, I again can see how many students have responded. This time when I show the responses, I see everyone's text response. It's going to show up in a list. You can do the grid as well, kind of more like looks like a Padlet a list, and you can scroll through your answers. Again, anonymous, which is great. And this is a great way to start a discussion or reflect on student answers with the free response. After the short response, we've got our math. Our math questions are the same way, 2 + 2, 4. This view has a couple different ways. It's going to give us a little number line, and the more people that respond to a certain answer, that area would get darker. So if everyone is answering 4, this should become incredibly dark, letting you know that all of your students are picking the same answer. You can also do the grid layout to get a more exact idea of how students are responding. Draw. Okay, the draw toolbar. So, boom, the student screen. They have a ton of options for drawing, right? I want to draw a tree diagram. So when you go into draw, this is they got kind of free reign here. I'll draw my tree. This is not a tree diagram, but maybe it is. I'm going to draw a tree diagram, right? My tree is in a diagram. They have a pencil option, highlighter, they can use the line tool, they can add text if they want, eraser, a lot of options. It is harder on just a trackpad to use the draw tool, so I give students kind of some leeway with their drawing. However, it's still a great way to have more creative responses from your students. You can also embed, like I know for math, I've used a coordinate plane, and I've had students draw their graph on a coordinate plane, or fill in a XY chart. That's a great way to have students get more free response with their answers. So when I show responses here, first it will show up as a list, so you can scroll through the different answers. If you want to look at a bunch of answers at once, you can do the grid layout. Overlay layout I would avoid for the drawing, because it's just going to jumble all of the drawings on top of each other at once, and it looks like a big mess. I would save that for our next type of question with our draggable responses. But the drawing responses can get pretty interesting. So let's go to our next. We're going to hide responses. Let's go to our next one. Yes, our draggables. So on the student screen, find a point on the map you visited. So they've got their draggable icons, so they can go ahead and move the draggables. So I'm going to say, Maryland. I've been to California. I've been to, I don't know, Oregon. Sure. In the teacher view, when you're ready to show responses, go to the list layout, so you can go again answer by answer, look at the different responses. This is where I would suggest using the overlaid layout. That way you can see all the responses kind of compiled at one time, so you can look for commonalities in people's draggable responses. This is good for like a how are you feeling question. So if more draggable responses are on the thumbs up than the thumbs down, that could indicate that things are going well with the lesson. So the overlay layout is good for the draggable icon question. And again, the grid layout and the list layout are available for this as well. What else? The website. So on the website option, we would have our prompt here, and then it's going to open up this web page for your students to work on. So for me, it pulls up that assignment that I had embedded into the slide. If you are embedding a prompt for your students, or if you're embedding, a website that you want them to visit to look at for research, this is a great way to just embed that lesson rather than posting a link on the slide. Again, this will only allow you to post one link at a time. So if you have multiple sites that you want them to visit, I would stick to embedding the links into the slideshow, and the links are still accessible to the students through Peardeck, through the presentation mode of Peardeck. There's no response here, so as you can see that the response buttons have gone away. And we can go back and visit these kind of prompting questions, but we've already covered these. So, circle how I'm feeling, I'm feeling pretty good. So want to show my responses? Awesome. When you are done with your slides, actually, I almost forgot. One of the coolest things about Peardeck, in my opinion, is when you turn on student mode. So if you are looking to differentiate your lesson, if you have a group of students who are moving through the curriculum faster than others, or if you want to pull a small group of students to work just with you and let the rest of your students work through the slideshow at their own pace, you would go down here to the triple dots and you would click Turn on Student Paced. So on your screen it says your students are now in student pace mode. Navigating through slides in student pace mode will not affect the projector or student displays. So you have given students control of the presentation now. So on your screen, you can still navigate through the slides. Again, if you were working with a small group, you could direct them with the slides. Still shows you all the responses for all the slides down at the bottom. But now on the student option, you can see that a toolbar has kind of opened up at the bottom for them, and they are able to navigate the slides on their own. It also lets them know, have they responded to the questions on each slide? It gives them a little check mark if they have or have not. Again, this is a great way to let students go at their own pace, and provides a lot of blended learning opportunities in your classroom. I think this is one of the coolest features of Peardeck that I use all the time with my students. So now, let's say class is ending. We've done our exit card. I want to bring the students back together. I'm going to turn off student paste, and then I want my exit card. Once I've collected all my data, I'm going to go to end this session, right? You can name your session. Let's say Tech PD Slides number 1. I'm going to save and end the session, and we are done. You can go and look on peardeck.com. You can look at the data, so we'll do that. Peardeck.com. I'm going to go to the teacher login. Again, it'll log you in directly through Google. So here's our most recent presentation. So this was our Tech PD Slides number 1. Status is closed. I have if I wanted to export my data to a spreadsheet so I could look over the answers at on my own time, I want to export to a spreadsheet. It's going to retrieve my session. And if you want to look at the responses from your session, you can go, and it has the time that they finished it, it has the name, and it has, if you open up all the slides, it has all of their responses. So if you had an exit card slide, you could go to the end and you'd have your graded answer. You had your answer for your exit card that you could look over. All right, That concludes the second video of our Peardeck session. After watching these videos and completing uh, some little guided assessments, you're going to have a chance to create your own Google Slides with the Peardeck questions embedded in them, and uh, submit them for feedback and critique before you look to implement them in your own classroom. All right, thanks so much.